Hey, everybody. I am hoping that you can hear me. Okay, I'm trying a new piece of tech here, and I'm hoping that this is working, that you can all see me and hear me okay. Could you let me know in the chat if you're seeing and hearing me all right? That would be fantastic. Just one more check just to be sure. And yeah, I think it looks like we're good to go. Okay, fantastic. So let's get started. You can see I've already pulled up our presentation that we'll be going over today, which is on the topic of 5 elements of powerful hotel website storytelling. Okay, so let's jump right in with this topic. First of all, welcome to the training. I'll give you a little bit of background information about me before we get started. My name is Juliana Hahn. I'm a copywriter specializing in the hospitality industry. Before doing that, I worked in hotels around the world. And yeah, today I get to work with international hotel brands and tech companies to write copy for them. And apart from that, I also create resources about copywriting for hotels, which you can find on my website. So let's quickly look at what we'll cover. So first of all, we'll start off with a quick intro to what is storytelling. Then we'll look at the 5 key elements. And yeah, that's already it for today. Short and sweet. So the first thing that's important to know, of course, is what is storytelling, right? Before we get into the whole thing. So storytelling basically means that you're using a story or a narrative to create a connection between your customers and your brand. That can be your single property or your brand of several properties if you're running or if you're working with a chain. So storytelling is basically where you want to connect your offering and your client's values, like the intersection point between the two. So if you want a practical example of that, you can think, for example, if you're working at a resort, right, then your main goal might be to provide families with a fun and memorable time in a beautiful setting, right? So your main goal or motivator is to provide family enjoyment. And one of your potential guests, their main value or interest might be to spend a relaxing and fun vacation with their loved ones. And now this family enjoyment part is where the values of your property and of your guests intersect. Of course, everyone has other values apart from that, but in this case, these 2 intersecting values are what we would concentrate on with our storytelling. And here we'll already get into our first key element, which is the hook. So as you can imagine from the name, the hook is what grabs your audience's attention and draws them in, right? So with a very crowded online space that we have today, like all the social media platforms and the internet itself is very busy. So you really need to stand out. And that's why a good hook is important, because it grabs your audience's attention and it shows them that you're in the right place. So apart from showing your people that they're in the right place, it's also a chance to shine a light on the unique selling point of your property. And you can do that by making your hook address a few different senses. So with your copy, you can like really get into people's imagination, and with an image, you can show them what they can expect at your property. So it's a great way to highlight your USP in a very easy to capture format and really show people, okay, we're in the right place. This is the thing for us. And then if your hook has done its job, your target audience will want to learn more. They'll click through your website, they'll check out your rooms, and they might even inquire via email or give you a call or use your website chat, for example. Then the next important part is your story's plot. So your plot is basically the collection of all the experiences that guests would have at your hotel during their stay. So you want to create an engaging plot in your storytelling that highlights what your target audience values most. So again, here we come back to this area where your values and your target audience's values intersect and come together. So if you're not entirely sure of what might make great elements for your plot, you can get some ideas from various different places. You can check your online reviews, like what did people write on TripAdvisor that they loved about your property. You can include that in your storytelling. You can go for the conversations you had with your guests. What did people tell you while they were at the hotel? What did they really enjoy? Maybe also social media comments people left, or even questions people ask. If they repeatedly ask you, do you have this thing? Do you offer that service? Then that's probably something they really want and that they value during their stay. So that's something you can highlight on your website and proactively tell them that you do. And one thing that's very important when you create this plot, of course, you're talking about things that you're offering and that you're doing for your guests. But the thing is that you don't want to just talk about yourself, because your story really is about your guest. So always keep that in mind when you're creating your plot. Keep in mind what's interesting for the reader, for your target audience, and not just for yourself. That brings me to our next key element, which is your story's hero. So as I just mentioned, the story on your website, your social media, your entire online presence really is not necessarily about you. So it's your hotel or your resort offers the story's setting. It offers the place where your story happens, where the hotel stay happens. But your guest is always the hero. Your guest is the person that should figure prominently in your story. So make every element of your story about them, even though it's happening at your place. So So I guess your guest is basically always the main character, and your hotel plays the supporting role to bring out your guest story. And that should always be the key part of your storytelling, to make sure that guests feel engaged. Because if you just keep talking about your property and what you do, instead of focusing on how that shows your guest a fantastic time or the great stay that they're hoping for, then you risk losing people, because they're not necessarily interested in what your property offers or does, but they're interested in how that'll be great for them. So that's always the approach that you should be taking with when you think about your hero, that you can always look at what are the great things you do and why are they great for your guest. So if you bring that into your storytelling, you're addressing your hero in the perfect way. And again, you're engaging them more and drawing them in much better. Okay. Then the next important thing, now that we know who is the hero, we should think about what are the hero's needs. So we remember that our guest is the hero. And when we're creating the story or crafting the story, you want to build that around your guest's needs and how you can fulfill them. So again, you can think of what really delights your guests, which services stand out to them and give them the most amazing stay, and what also sets you apart a bit from other hotels in your area. So I understand that sometimes it can be a bit difficult to think which services are particularly interesting to guests. Like, you might have a few ideas, I'm sure, but sometimes small things might stand out to people more than what you would think. So again, look at your reviews, look at your your social media and get really into the nitty-gritty and see which are the main things that really stick out to your guests. What do people praise over and over again about your property? And then see how you can showcase that in your storytelling, on your social media, and as well on your website. So again, you can also get some inspiration from your ideal guest persona. You've probably already drawn up a few personas of guests that you generally attract, and you have an idea of what is the age group, what are their interests, what's suitable or fun or attractive to them. So go through that and really refine that and dig deep into that, and check your content, check your website, your social media, if you're really addressing these things already. And if you find gaps there, you have a great opportunity to create some more content or update your existing content to engage people. And yeah, so check what people praise in your reviews. That's something I already mentioned. So moving on to our next point, which is your purpose. So we already briefly addressed this a bit more in the beginning. In your storytelling, you really want to know what is your hotel's purpose? What's your ultimate goal? So, of course, yes, you're a business, you welcome guests, people pay to stay with you, but that's not your purpose in this sense when we're talking about storytelling. You, of course, need to get really, really clear with this so that you can create a message that resonates with your audience, right? So apart from the business aspect of your hotel, let's think of some other parts or some other elements that can make up this purpose for your storytelling. So first, we've talked about your hotel's ultimate goal. How or what do you do? Do you provide the amazing setting for business guests so they can have a fantastic meeting and do like close deals and advance their business? Or do you provide this fantastic and fun family stay and create an unforgettable experience for people, right? So really think about what your ultimate goal is. And if you target a few guest segments, there could be a few different goals, and that can be reflected in your story differently on different parts of your website, right? But moving on from your hotel's purpose, now let's look at the other purpose that we can consider when we're talking about storytelling, which is your story's purpose. So with every story you tell, or with every part of storytelling, you always want to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I talking about this specific topic? Or why am I posting a specific post on social media right now? So if you're really clear on that, then you'll always have a desired action in mind, something that you want people to do after they see this content. So maybe you have your section about business meetings on your website. After that, you would want people to reach out and contact you about potentially organizing something at your property. Or if you're talking about family fun on another part of your website, you would want people to maybe get in touch and ask, what type of family-friendly activities do you offer at your hotel, or what else is nearby for people to do if they come with kids, right? What can engage the whole family? Or maybe on your rooms page, you want to describe your rooms and show them in a way that's attractive to your target audience. And at the end, what do you want them to do? You want them to go to make a booking, or maybe also reach out and ask some questions, some more deeper questions about your property, right? So there's always a desired action you want people to take, and it's important to have that in mind when you're creating your content, so that you can guide people towards this desired action at the end of your story, at the end of every page or every post, really, right? So it's also important to answer these questions in a coherent way, right? So you want to make sure that everything ties together well. And maybe if you're posting something on social media about specific promotion or about something new you're offering at the hotel, then you should reflect that on your website as well. Or if you're introducing something new on your website, Talk about it on social media too, and maybe bring it into your email newsletter as well if you have one of those. So don't worry about repeating the content in different places a little bit, because not everyone will see everything you post on all your channels. Some people might only be following you on social media. So if you tell them there, only then will they come to your website to see what it is you're talking about there. But if you don't tell them on social media, they might actually miss out on this amazing promotion or whatever else new thing is, whatever else the new thing is you're doing on your site, for example. Same goes with your newsletter. Not everyone on the newsletter will see what you post on social media and so forth. So don't worry about repurposing your content a bit, sharing the same stories here and there again and again. In the end, that'll just help you actually create a bit of a deeper connection and get people to connect with your property more and show a bit more interest. Okay. So that already brings me to the end of our 5 elements of storytelling. So we can just go over this recap quickly. So we started off with what is storytelling. We know that it means creating a relevant narrative that engages your audience and gets people to build up an interest in your property. And then after that, we talked about our 5 elements. So the powerful hook that gets people's attention, the engaging plot that draws people in, focusing on your story's hero, which is your guest, looking at your hero's needs. What does your guest want from your hotel? And what do they really want? Like, what is like their deep down desire for this trip? And of course, your story's purpose. What is your hotel's purpose, and what is the story's purpose? What do you want people to do after they hear your story? Okay, now that already brings me to the end of this quick presentation. See, I promised it wasn't going to be too long. So yeah, we are now ready for some questions. Do you have any questions for me about this presentation in particular? Or of course, if you have any questions about copywriting in general, now is the time. You can let me know here in the chat. Just drop your message for me. I'll be around for a few more minutes waiting for any questions. I know we're a really small group today, which is great. So I have a bit more time to address any questions, or maybe if you have a specific idea you've been throwing around. Here, awesome. I have Mauricio asking, is copywriting for websites and copywriting for social media similar? That's a great question, actually. It is and it isn't. So what's similar, I would say, is that you want people to have a certain experience, or you want people to have to take a certain action. So maybe on social media, you've created a post where you tell people about a new promotion, and then you want them to click through to your website and maybe check it out or book it. Or maybe you're just telling them about a new feature just because you want to inform them and keep them engaged. On your website, your goal is probably the same, right? You want to share information, you want to tell people what you're up to and what they can book at your property. But the writing style, I say, would be a bit different. So on your website, you're probably very interested in conversions, right? You want people to book a room, you want people to reach out, or you want them to sign up to your email newsletter, for example. On social media, yes, you want them to follow, but maybe you're not so keen on immediately getting people to buy, right? Like, we know conversion rates from social media are not extremely high, but maybe there you want to write content that's a bit more personal, a bit more engaging, and just creates a bit more of this connection, while then the copy on your website would get people to get more into the action of actually booking and buying from you, right? So your goals there are a little bit different, and your writing would reflect that. So does that answer your question, Mauricio? Awesome, great. Do you have any other questions for me? I'm still around, so feel free. Okay. Now it looks like there are no more questions coming in right now. Okay. That works as well. So that already wraps up the first hotel copywriting tea time. So that was quite awesome to have you guys here for our very first such session. There'll be one every month from now on for some time. Let's see. I'm not putting an end date on this yet. Let's just see how this goes and how you guys enjoy it. And yeah, the goal is just to give you a chance to ask me any questions you want, for me to just provide a bit of extra value with these short presentations. And yeah, if you have any ideas for future topics, if there's something that you really want to learn about, let me know. Just send me an email, and yeah, I'll be very happy to consider that for a future topic. So of course, if there's any feedback from your side, I would love that. Just, again, drop it in the chat or send me a message. I would absolutely love to hear about it. Yeah, I'm glad everything seemed to have worked out quite well with the tech today. And Mauricio here says, thank you. Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm glad you were here. I'm so glad you appreciated and enjoyed it. And yeah, if anything else comes up, just let me know. And I'll be back in your inbox soon with another email, I suppose. I wish you guys a great afternoon, and we'll talk soon. Bye.